All right, so let's do this with photosynthesis. We've got the sun up here, right? The sun is sending what towards the earth?
Heat.
Sunlight. Yeah, heat is definitely sending heat too. It's sending sunlight. We're going to say sunlight. It's sending actual photons, which are these particles and these waves. But we're just going to say sunlight. So sunlight is being sent down to the earth, and it's hitting things. Let's say there's a tree right here. There's a tree. And on this tree, there's a little leaf, right? So we're going to zoom in on that leaf. Let's say that leaf is right here. And in that leaf, there's a little cell. And if we zoom in on that cell, that inside of that cell is something. What is inside? Let's draw that cell down here. What is inside that cell that's going to be going through photosynthesis? A chloroplast. And it's a green thing. It looks like it's got a bunch of green pancakes on it, stacked up inside. It's the parts of the organelle that's actually going through photosynthesis. Sunlight is coming in. What else is actually going into this cell in the process of photosynthesis? Let's go ahead and change this slide so you can see it. What else is actually going into the cell? What do you think? Sir? Not oxygen. So plants don't breathe in oxygen the same way we do. When we talk about plants breathing in, we normally talk about one that's similar to oxygen. What is it?
Carbon dioxide.
So we've got carbon dioxide. We're going to write it right here. CO2. What else? What else do plants need? They have to have water. H2O. So those are two things. Do y'all know what those stand for?
Yes.
Carbon dioxide and water. I'm gonna do something that's going to be a little bit past what you have to know in seventh grade for seventh grade science, but I think it'll come in handy and it's not too difficult. This little arrow. That little arrow, if you read it, I want you to write. I'm not gonna write it there. I want you to read it as if you saw the word yield. Do y'all know what yield means? Yes, okay, so in traffic, yield means watch out for the other person. What we're going to say is yield means, it's almost like a word that means like it creates or it makes. So what it's saying is these things make what's over here. This is an equation. Y'all have written equations in math, right? Yeah. What typically is in the middle of your equations in math? An equal sign. When you read this, do you say two horizontal lines? No, what do you say? Equals. So when you see this arrow, I don't want you to say arrow. I want you to say the word yields, not equals. Yields. It yields. It gives you. These things reacting together yields this over here. All right, so what does it say? I want you to read it to me. You can say carbon dioxide if you want. Yields. All right, now I'm going to add something else. I'm going to add what you guys said a second ago. I'm going to do it in red. What am I going to write? What else is coming into this cell?
Sunlight.
Sunlight. Light. So sunlight. So CO2 plus H2O in the presence of light. That's what I want you to say. CO2 plus H2O in the presence of light. Say it.
CO2 plus H2O in the presence of light.
What does this arrow say? Yield. So it's CO2 plus H2O in the presence of sunlight yields. And what that means in the presence of, that this is not something that's actually coming to the equation. Kind of like when you burn a fire, you don't actually have to go and find oxygen and bring it to the fire and put it on the fire. It's just there, right? In the same sense, this light, this sunlight, it's got to be present. If light is present, then CO2 plus H2O is going to yield this other stuff. So we say carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight is going to yield. And here we go. Let's go blue. And it's going to yield. What is the whole point of photosynthesis? The whole point of photosynthesis is to make one thing. Not food. So food is, it's in food. Sugar, which is also, what do we call it? What kind of sugar are we talking about? Glucose. Good job. C6H12O6. This is glucose, or it's a type of sugar. Remember, OSE. means sugar. So glucose plus, there's something else that it's going to make. What do plants give off? They kind of breathe out oxygen. We write that as O2. So C6H12O6 gives us a yield, or yields sugar, CO2 plus H2O in the presence of sunlight yields sugar and oxygen. What is the main point of photosynthesis? It's trying to make what? Sugar. All right. Now I'm going to show you cell respiration. I think that one is pretty easy. I want to show you cell respiration and show you how difficult and so very different it is than photosynthesis. So when you eat something, to stay alive, there's two things we have to do generally. There's a bunch of stuff, but two things generally. We have to do what?
Drink water and eat.
Okay, drinking water, one step to the side. You're right. Do what? We have to eat. So what are we eating? Things with sugar in it. So we're going to say, wrong color. We're going to say C6H12O6. Guys, y'all need to let's kind of get in the habit of it. What is this called? What is sugar? How do you say sugar? C6H12O6. Plus, we breathe in oxygen. Where have you seen this before? These two together. It's the two things that plants make. They're so important to us. These are the two things that plants make. And then we're going to draw this arrow, but we don't call it an arrow. What do we call it? What do we say when we see it? Yields. So when we eat something, we consume food, which turns to sugar. We eat sugar, we breathe, and we bring that sugar and that oxygen to our cells, our individual cells. Our blood takes it. We'll talk about that later. But our blood takes it to those cells, and then our cells, in a specific, really special organelle, it turns these things into something that we can use. What is that thing that we have to use? What is the form of energy that our cells use?
Sugar?
Nope. We can't use sugar. Our cells can't use sugar. One of the organelles where this is happening can. ATP. Do you remember talking about ATP? And you don't have to remember what it stands for. But ATP is the currency that our cell uses. Not pesos or yen or Bitcoin. Our currency is dollars, or in this case, it's ATP. So it makes ATP. Change colors. Let's try this again. Change colors. Makes ATP. What else does it make? We breathe out, not oxygen, carbon dioxide. And we're also going to be giving off water. Now, where have y'all seen this before? Something similar to that, very, very similar. What is the differences or the similarities between this and this? I even did it in little special colors for you. Look, yes, these three things. This is carbon dioxide and water and a type of energy. This is carbon dioxide, water, and a type of energy. Over here we got sugar and oxygen. Over here we got sugar and oxygen. Cell respiration and photosynthesis are kind of opposites. They use the same things, so they just flip them. Now, if you see in the equation light, do our cells, when our mitochondria do this process, because this is where that happens, it's happening in the mitochondria. When our cells, our mitochondria, are turning sugar and oxygen into energy, do they give off light? Is that their energy that they're giving off? Do they, can we turn into flashlights like mitochondria, go, and they shine? No. When our mitochondria are going and doing their job, what are they making? ATP. So if you see ATP, you know it has to do with the mitochondria. If it's making ATP. If the thing is making sugar, what organelle is that? What organelle is that? It is the chloroplast, yes.